The race for the California governor's mansion is heating up as candidates John Cox and Gavin Newsom talk about pressing issues during a radio debate. One America's Marty Golingan reports.
The Golden State gears up for the midterms as California's candidates for governor face off for their only scheduled debate on San Francisco radio. On Monday, Republican John Cox and Democrat Gavin Newsom discussed many of the key issues on the minds of Californians. Both highlighted the cost of living and housing as one of their main talking points for their campaigns. Newsom said he is calling for increasing statewide incentives for cities and areas willing to meet housing goals. But Cox blamed Newsom and special interest groups for escalating the housing crisis while he was lieutenant governor. The GOP businessman said once he's elected, he hopes to enact reforms so people can afford to buy a house or pay their rent.
We have to exercise leadership from Sacramento, and I will certainly do that because we do need to build a lot of housing, but we need to build that housing in a cost-effective way with lower costs. Now, I certainly want local authorities to be involved in the process, and they have to be involved in the process. I've sat on local zoning boards in the past. And
do they have too much power now, do you think?
No, I don't think they do. No, I think they should have power. But I think there's also can be leadership that's exercised from the top.
The candidates also addressed one of the biggest problems facing Californians, the state's overwhelming gas tax. Revenue from the gas tax is meant to be used for road and infrastructure repair, but many areas have not seen any improvements. They then talked about Proposition 6, which would repeal the gas tax if it's passed. John Cox says he supports the repeal, saying people are paying an outrageous tax and can't afford to live. He said he is willing to force the state's Department of Transportation to use its funding more efficiently. But Newsom, the former mayor of San Francisco, said he is willing to keep the tax and argued with Cox on what to do about it.
He talks about the illusory notion of efficiencies.
It's not illusory.
The fact is, John, you may not be aware of this, but the entire payroll at Caltrans is $2.86 billion. You can eliminate every single position. I imagine that's the ultimate manifestation of efficiency, and still struggle to find the money that you are taking away and advocating taking away from improving our roads, our tunnels,
this state
and
is
our bridges.
supposedly running a surplus right now, and it generates tens of billions of dollars from motor vehicle-related sources, sales taxes on cars and other things like that aren't being used. We have a surplus.
Let me just ask you about that. Because
why are we digging into the pockets of people who are already paying the highest housing prices, the highest water prices, the highest electricity prices in the country?
And the hot-button issue of illegal immigration was discussed between Cox and Newsom over the airwaves. One listener was able to ask about the sanctuary state policy, which has greatly divided residents. Gavin Newsom defended the policy, claiming areas enforcing sanctuary for illegal immigrants are no more dangerous than areas without it. But Cox did not back down, saying he will put the safety of legal citizens ahead of those who enter the country unlawfully.
I would get rid of the sanctuary law.
How would you get rid of it?
Well, I think we need to get the legislature to do that, and if they don't do it, I think we need to get it to a vote of the people. This law, I think, is very unpopular. I think it sends the wrong message. I think people want to know that they're going to have their law enforcement officials work together.
The candidates also touched on gun control, criminal justice reform, and climate change. But due to time constraints, Cox and Newsom were not able to answer questions about education, healthcare, or the water supply. Californians will be able to make their voices heard and vote on a new governor November 6th. Marty Golingan, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.